Hello, everyone. So I did this presentation last week and I was so excited and I forgot to record it. So I'm doing it all over again to keep the recording. So you could listen in your spare time and at the same time maybe send to your friends. Very welcome everyone here. So many of you know that me and my partner Rael, we are builders. We're building condos in this Boston, and we probably heard and see that. This presentation is actually from my other hat. I'm also a broker, and I own Sunrise Real Estate Brokerage and Investment as well. So here I'm bringing this information to you about investment properties, not so much about my development, but more about the investment in real estate. And I want to bring you as much information as possible. And then you can always reach out and ask questions. So let's get going. Okay, so Sunrise Real Estate Investment and Brokerage. So who am I? A little bit about me. So I am most and foremost broker. So I own this realty. And I was recently in Tony Robbins' presentation, actually, and they were talking about marketing, and they say that with so much confusing, we always should speak up what we're doing, because not everybody knowing what we're doing, and I can fully relate to it, because not long ago I was talking to a girl who knows me very well, and she was saying something about her house, and I said, listen, I can find a very creative solution for you as a broker. She said, so you're a broker? I didn't know. I thought you're only doing Halloween parties. So so I want to clarify, besides Halloween parties, I'm a broker. I have tons of years of experience in selling my own properties, buying new projects, doing it for a lot of people, my friends, doing round of investment properties already, like some people third round. So I'm also real estate investment advisor. So I'll sit with you and I will show you exactly what options you have. I know we all say, oh, we should have done it 10 years ago. We should have bought in East Boston 10 years ago when the three family was 100K, not 1.3 million. But in 10 years, it's going to be the same. So I will show you how to, even doesn't matter, even the people who close to retirement, you can still do a big chunk of money on real estate. So I'm also Airbnb property manager. I have lots of on my own Airbnbs, like right now 7. But I'm starting to open to do it for other people. I have I'll talk more about it. I also short-term investment broker. We're taking short-term cash investments with a very high competitive interest. I'll talk a little bit more about it. I'm also real estate developer and builder flipper with my partner Al, and yes, I am a Halloween party organizer. So what else do we have? We have in-house construction company with my partner Al. He runs it, Ligi Construction, which is available for any construction purposes for your home or investment properties. He's also commissioner in local town, so we do code compliance, and he can do inspections when you buy, when you sell, also help you with your own properties to add accessory dwelling. And please ask us about it. It's a huge thing. You can get additional rental income from your building additional structure, small structure, like a smart home, for example, in your yard, or even dedicate your basement and stuff like that. So there is a lot of options of many towns allow them, and he will talk a little bit more about it later. So let's talk about real estate investment, just general, on a very simple terms. Let's assume we have 100K for investment, and let's see what's the difference between different type of investments, like on a very basic level. So let's say the simplest way to invest your 100K is just go get CD in a local bank, which is current, not a bad interest, 5%. So let's say it's very secured. You get a CD, so after it's gonna be a 5% rate. So your after 5 years, your return gonna be 25,000 on your 100K. You're gonna get 125,000 back. So that's a simple CD. Now then we go a little bit more advanced option. stock market, which like a low risk stocks run around 8%. So by holding your 100K for 5 years in stock market, you're going to receive 40,000 back. Also not bad, right? 140,000, your 100 become 140 after 5 years. Now let's look on real estate and why it's so lucrative investment. So real estate with short-term rentals, which I'm going to show you later, have a capacity to do 22% yearly return on investment. So, and I will show you all the numbers in the next slide. So after 5 years, your return on 100K going to be actually 110,000. So your return going to be, so your 100K will become to 110 after 5 years, only 5 years. And that's why real estate is so lucrative and highly secured as well, because your investment is secured by your own asset and you're only the one who control it. So let's dive into it and just quickly see the example so you understand where these numbers are coming from. So let's say we're purchasing 3-family for 900K now, today. Your down payment has to be 225K. So now again, we were talking before about 100K. It's probably not enough to put as a down payment. But let's see what's happening when you put, you need to put for investment property 25%, unless you're taking it as owner occupant, then it's way less. So let's say this out. Let's take this outrageous interest of today's 8%. So our monthly Airbnb rental, which again I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but that's the numbers that yield from 3 Airbnb units monthly is 15K. So your mortgage payment roughly going to be 5K. Your monthly expenses with tax, insurance, utilities, and the management fee to me or other Airbnb management company, which is that average fee, going to be 4.7 thousand. So your monthly income going to be 5,300. After 5 years appreciation, and we have a steady 5% appreciation in Boston area, and I will show you numbers a little later, it's even higher. Last 10 years, your 5 years appreciation going to be 248. And I want to point you also why numbers are so high for real estate. When we taking CD, our interest run on this 100K that you invested. When you're talking about appreciation, they're running on the value of the home, which is market value, which is 900. So your 5% out of 900 is really 45,000 a year. So just purely on appreciation, you're getting, like, forget even Airbnb, purely on appreciation, you're getting 45,000 a year growth on your 100K. So, you know, that's for many people half of their yearly salary. And by the way, income taxed very differently in real estate. It's not an income tax. So your tax is going to be way less. And also they offset by depreciation many times. So you may end up even with no tax at all. Then 5 years income with Airbnb rental is going to be 516. So your return on investment on your 225,000 going to be 602,000 after 5 years. This is appreciation plus income. So in this particular case, your return on investment IRR yearly going to be 29%. Now, let's say in a year or two, or maybe even the spring, hopefully, the interest going back to 6% or maybe less, then your monthly income already grew to 7,300. And your 5 years return on investment becomes 670, and making a return on investment is 32% yearly. I actually heard in one of the investment forums that if you can purchase property now that works, that not even bringing cash flow, but just covering itself, it's already a huge plus, because when your interest is going to go down, it will become a way more profitable property than right now. So if you can have profitable property now, it's going to be very profitable in a year or two. So let's continue. Where do I get this 100K? I don't have it, right? So many of us have homes and many of us have equity thanks to the huge growth of after COVID real estate market, especially in suburbs. So pool equity line makes sense. And let me explain to you also, there are two types of debts, and this is based on actually theory of real estate investment. There is a destructive debt and there is a constructive debt. So destructive debt is when you, let's say you bought a boat, you bought a car, or you go to vacation and you took some money for that loan or whatever, or credit card. This is destructive debt because you just took a debt and you need to pay it off. Now, constructive debt is when you took a debt, but you actually you're getting profit on it more than this debt. So let's say you took equity line, you're paying the equity line amount a month, but you're getting income out of it, which is higher than this payment. So this is called constructive debt. This is how economy is building on. This is how banking are working on. This is how wealth is growing on. So there is nothing wrong. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to touch my house. It's my security. I don't want to take equity on my house. But at the same time, if you're taking and investing it in your own property and you're getting income out of it more than your payment, then you created constructed. There you're creating wealth, you're growing wealth this way. Equity line from your home is an amazing option. Savings CD stock market that's maybe not performing too well. 401k as a self-directory IRA, you can invest money from 401k to purchase the property. But even better way, you can have a private note from your 401k, and I've done these things plenty of times, so reach out. I will explain. You can actually take note. You cannot take kind of loan from your own 401k. You cannot do it for your personal, but you can do it for the LLC. And again, talk to me. There is an option to pull out your money and make them as a self-direct working towards real estate. Please talk to me. I'll explain in all the details. Now you can buy as owner-occupant and rent other units with 5% down. You can buy it as a secondary residence with 5% down. You can partner with other investments. This is investors. This is how I started. We were 3 investors, each put 50, 50, 50. We had 150 and we bought our first property. You can borrow from parents, from their retirement funds. Again, this is how I started. My dad actually sent from Israel his funds, and that's how that was my first investment property. And you can take a loan from friends and family if numbers make sense of what you pay in the monthly and how much you produce cash. And again, I can help with that to understand. So a lot of people, so let's talk about peace of mind. So obviously the very famous billionaire investor Warren Buffett said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. So so a lot of people say, I don't want to invest in real estate. I want peace of mind. So let's see what is not peace of mind. Your job is not peace of mind. You can be fired at any moment. All of us been there. I've been in the software industry for a long time, was also laid off a couple of times. So your job is not peace of mind. Your 401k is not peace of mind because it's going to run out. And we all plan to live long lives. So it's a definite amount, which we're going to be pulling, and it's going to be final at some point. We're going to run out. Your house is not your peace of mind, neither your vacation home and not the car, because you cannot make money on it. So what is peace of mind? It's a cash flow producing income property, because once you have it, it's going to be producing income forever. And the longer you go, the more income you get. So you can refinance at some point and reduce your payments, and it's going to stay for our, as inheritance to our children and grandchildren. So what is true peace of mind is the income property, which all of us should really have. This is not even this is a must. It's really must for our retirement, for our future. There is no excuses of not having a peace of mind. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want the complications, because the amount of worry we have about our future and retirement. And I talk to a lot of people who, like all of us, are close to retirement somewhat, and everybody worrying about it. So, so compared to, okay, I'm worried about my retirement or my future, or I'm worrying about tenants, and there is so much help me or other property managers to help you with that. So so it's really the peace of mind. Your peace of mind is in investment property. So I want to show you example of my actually real estate investment journey as investor. So my first, so to show you how it's really growing. So my first property was, it was a Brighton 2-family house. I bought it in 2009. It was partially my debt retirement, partially it was 2 more people investors. So we purchased it for 740 at the time. And I managed it. I hated the guts of it, dealing with the tenants at the time. That's why I prefer Airbnb much better right now than just the regular renters. So we bought it for 740, but our monthly income was 2,000, not bad, not huge, but nice, not bad. But when I could really appreciate the value of it, and when I sold it in 2016, 7 years later, for 1.125 million, and I was like, oh, that's what it is. So our profit was 385,000. We needed some money at the time, so we took 235,000 out of it, and we distributed between 3 of us, and 150 we invested into next property. So this was Brighton. So we went to Chelsea, which at the time had much lower prices. It was 2016. We bought 3-family for 630. Again, our income was 150,000, 1,500. Not huge income. Actually, I didn't need to worry too much about this house. I had handyman living in one of the units, so he took care of the property. So I hardly ever heard from them. And the beauty of the Spanish families too, that they so kind of equipped and they did their own changes, and so I haven't heard from them that much. So then in last year I was thinking, okay, I need to put my action where my words are, and I'm talking about investment. I have a lot of equity in this house, so I should be really doing Airbnb on this equity. So I sold it for 950. So our profit was 320, and my plan was to split it between 2 properties, but I didn't have enough time. So I did 1031 exchange. 1031 exchange is the way to transfer a capital gain, your income, basically profit, from one property to another without paying taxes. But you have only 90 days to identify the property. So I was successful only to identify one property that I liked. So I bought 3-family house in Riviera, in Riviera Beach, with a purchase price of 780, and I put all the proceeds from Chelsea 3-family to that house, and I started to run 3 units Airbnb. And my monthly income was already 12,000. This is after paying taxes, insurance, and mortgage. It was a clear cash income that I put into pocket. This is like one good salary for one person, right? So compared to 1,500 that I had before, so it's a huge change. Then, so what I'm doing right now is I'm looking for next property. So I am cashing out. I'm refinancing this house, cashing out 250,000 out of it, which is enough as a down payment for another 3-family property. Or actually, at the time of presentation, I gave offer. It wasn't accepted, but I would be looking for something similar. So this is 5-family home, which is actually on the market right now. Its purchase price is 1.45 million. I don't have enough down payment for that. It requires 500,000 down payment. I have only 250. So I offered to seller to give me seller financing for the other part of down payment for a couple of years until I could get enough money from actually selling my other properties or from my development to pay them off. So if that would work, and it's just a house, for example, right? It could be different house. So my monthly income from this building with all of this payment would be 11,000. So my monthly income would reduce somewhat in my old Riviera house because the mortgage gonna grow because I'm doing cash out. So let's say it would be like 9 or 10, but then I would have 11,000. So I would get to 20,000 income a month with those two properties. Now, the reason they refused, because they're doing themselves 1031 exchange, so they cannot leave any proceeds. They have to take the whole amount and invest into other property. But it's one of the examples how you could do that. So my next move gonna be either I'm gonna be finding exactly the same 5-family and trying to do half seller financing, or I will be looking for another 3-family with 250K down payment with a similar setup and income of 3 Airbnb units. Okay, so let's look on how like real estate investment works. There is kind of famous fundamental methodology called BRRR. It's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. And this is how real estate investment really works. You buy the property, you add the value on it, you rehab, you rehab, and then you rent. You increase your rent, and by that you increase the value. So once you increase the value, you refinance, and then you repeat. There is another way to increase the value is by many times there are illegal tools, the legal trees. So they are, and it's in all these towns, like especially Riviera, Everett, which they are basically legal 1 or 2 units, but in reality there are 1 more units, and you could convert those buildings, and by that you automatically adding 100K to these conversions. So this is also possible. They're more difficult to find, but they possible. For example, the 3-family they had in Riviera, it was original 2 with a 3rd illegal unit, and they ended up converting it to 3, and this is how I am actually getting extra value out of it, and I could cash out so much for next property. So let's talk about short-term rentals. I know a lot of people like I hear all different statements from people like, who's gonna come, like who's gonna rent it, who's renting for short-term rental? Definitely travel nurses. Even though COVID is subsided, we still have a huge movement of travel nurses. We have lots of hospitals. There is no enough personnel, so they're coming in the big amounts from all over the country. Traveling professionals, relocating families, students, a lot of students, like there is a huge movement from students from Argentina and Brazil, Peru, coming in the winter months, which are naturally slow for Airbnb. So they're coming on in winter to work in TD Garden and Dunkin' Donuts. So I'm actually, most of my units rented in winters to them. They know me already. So I have a lot, like in August, I start to get a lot of requests from the students group who come in renting, and this way I'm giving them pretty big rent number, because they also a lot of people. But like my 3-bedroom units are rented for $4,500. My 2-bedroom units are rented for $4,000. So it's a really nice money rents for the winter months when Airbnb is low. Now, flight attendants, obviously, we're close to the airport. People who sold their properties and in search, we get plenty of these ones, and divorced and separated people as well. Let's see. Okay, so what's the short-term rentals prices in Boston? This is, we're talking about monthly rentals. So monthly rentals for 1 or 2 bedroom, 1 bath, between $3,000 and $2,500. Monthly rentals for 3-bedroom, 1, 2 baths, it's from $4,000 and $4,500. So they're much higher than the regular monthly rent. Airbnb summer months, I am getting for like these properties, like 2, 3 bedrooms, from $5,000 to $6,000 a month. In the fall and spring months, between $4,200 and $5,000. And then Airbnb winter months, like the students I mentioned, I'm getting between $3,000 for 1 bedroom to $4,500 for 2, 3 bedrooms. And the big part about short-term rentals, they always pay. They either coming through application Airbnb, or they come in as a professional, so they don't have intention to being stuck there or not paid. So I never had any issue with none of them. So you don't need to face eviction. You don't need to face any non-paying tenants. I've been dealing with them for 5+ years. I'm really happy with all kind of short-term rentals. Yes, it takes more time, but it's also much more satisfactory and less troubles actually than regular renters. So a lot of people are hearing other concerns, like what if town regulation is gonna change? Not everybody like Airbnb. True, town regulation make change, and that's why we are investing only in town that are Airbnb friendly, at least at this moment. Now, it can change, everything can change. Like New York at some point lost Airbnb, even though I see plenty of them, tons of them there. So that's not a really true statement. But that's why when we're planning investment, and this is true for any real estate investment, we're planning it roughly for 5 years, and then we kind of evaluate. So what happens in my case, for example, when I invested in Chelsea, I thought it's a very good investment at the time. But then with the time, I saw that, for example, Riviera is coming up much quicker. Everett coming up much quicker. Is Boston too? Chelsea kind of lagging a little bit behind. Then I also hear that then I'm looking on Airbnb and I see, oh, I cannot really run Airbnb in Chelsea, but I can run it in Riviera. So the same thing, if like we're purchasing in a town that is not welcoming Airbnb anymore, so then we sell, we do 1031 exchange, that is what it's for. We go into different town and we reinvest it in a different property. This is one way. Another way, you can always fall back for standard long-term rent. So definitely your investment property should be working. So your numbers should be working with a long-term rental as well. Maybe not in such a big profit, but they still should be covered and it should be no money out of your pocket. Otherwise, it's not going to be good investment, and I will help you to calculate that. So there are always furnished professional rentals, these ones that I mentioned, flight attendant, nurses, relocating people. So there are plenty of them as well, which are not coming through Airbnb, but rather through different side of furnished professional rentals. And yes, so you use 1031 exchange to different property. There is always areas and scenarios with working with real estate. So if one scenario is not working, and this is actually active part of real estate investment, to always evaluate how is your asset doing. And I welcome you to people who have already properties. I am strongly welcoming you to talk to me, and let's go look how much equity you have in your property. Does it work? Does it really bring the money you should be getting? The same as my Chelsea property. It had like 500K equity, but it was bringing lousy 1,500 a month, while when I converted it to other property, it brought 12,000. Quite a difference. So I'm sure like we can look at your property. Like, for example, also I have condo in East Boston, which is very cute, nice condo. I run it as Airbnb. It's also bring like maybe 1,500 a month, but I have 200 equity in there. So I'm thinking for this 200 equity, I could actually purchase 2 or 3 family house and have much higher. So I'm gonna put it on as much as I like it. I'm gonna put it on the market in spring, get the cash out of it, and purchase different property. It does require your investment, does require your involvement in a way of evaluating constantly, or at least once a number of years, how is your real estate asset doing. It's not just left alone and forget about it. You always should, it should produce money, and it should produce maximum you can get. We work too hard not to benefit from asset that we have, truly. Okay, so as an Airbnb management company, that's what I am doing for myself, and I am very welcome you to use my services. So we do full Airbnb management. We will provide repair and maintenance. We will be 24 hours on call. We will provide cleaning services, which is paid by guests. We will help with furnishing and stocking them if you need us to. We will help with any renovations that you need. Our fee is 80% management fee from Airbnb income. Yeah, so basically you should not hear about your asset besides getting monthly income at all, unless there are bigger repairs that needs to be approved by you. You would probably give me like, I don't know, range of 200-300 for small repairs, so I don't bug you, or I can bug you if you like. I could approve every repair, or I can approve just repair bigger than certain amount. And basically you will not hear from me besides monthly report and monthly income in your account. So if you prefer to stay as a long-term rental and you have your building and you want me to manage to property manage your asset, I'm happy to do that too. So we'll have this repair and maintenance. We will be 24 hours on call. We will help with renovations if you need to, and then it's going to be 8% management fee from rental income. We also run cash short-term real estate investment programs. This is for me and Elle's development company. As many of you know, we do development in everywhere, like it's Boston, Winthrop, now in Arlington. So we're taking loans starting from 1 year long. We pay interest at the end of the project. It compounds annually. We give a competitive 50% interest yearly that guaranteed. So it doesn't matter how we're doing, doesn't matter how economy doing, we guarantee this interest. You're going to get it no matter what. So the way we're doing it, we're doing the partnership. You're becoming co-owners with us, limited partners. So you will not have any liability, but you have more rights over the property over us. So you're going to get your return before we're getting anything after out of it. So, and your loan is secured under this property, under the specific project that you're going to be investing in. So we're very welcome. If you have your cash sitting and doing nothing, you should really be thinking about investing. We're very transparent. You're always welcome to come see the project. Call me. I answer all investor calls immediately to give you a full update of what's going on in the project. Again, we've been doing it for like a minimum 6 years already with a lot of investors. Okay, so let's see, for example, the short-term programs. So let's say you have 200K, you put it for 1 year, you will get 15% yearly interest, 30K. Now, point about taxing. So the tax is really taxed as a long-term capital gain, which is roughly 15%. It is not your income tax. So, which is like close to 30%, right? So after your tax, you're going to get 25,500. It's going to be your income after tax on your 200K. It's like a couple nice vacations a year, right? So if you put those 200K for 5 years with a 15% compound interest, you're going to get 220K. So it's a 100% return in 5 years. So after 50% tax, you're going to get 172K on your investment. Now 100K for 1 year, it's going to be after tax 12,750. Nice one, family vacation. And 100K after 5 years, it's going to be 86,000 income after 5 years after tax. So again, just don't underestimate compound value of investment. It's going to give you nice numbers and it's going to give us move forward with our development needs. Now, so what's happening right now in the market? Let's talk about it, because a lot of people afraid about the interest. So what I want to tell you, and I've been in tons of forums and a lot of talks. I've been watching, and I am on the field seeing what's going on as well. So huge is a big opportunity for both your primary residence and investment property. So the big thing, you can negotiate better price. There is much less competition, exactly because of a lot of people afraid. So prices did not go down because we're still on a seller's market, because the inventory is still very low. It will not crash, and I'm going to show it later. But you can definitely negotiate better price, better condition, maybe seller financing. So you could benefit from the programs that a lot of sellers right now, including us actually for our condos, offering this as a seller rate buy down. So you can get a -2% interest in the first year and -1 interest next year. And then you can refinance because interest gonna go down in a year or two. So this way you can get 5% now and then like 6% next year before you refinance. You can buy outstanding property with discounted rate. So what I hear also that the moment rate gonna start going down, the home values will go up. So if we're gonna face the same rise in real estate prices similar to 2021. So it's a very similar situation on COVID when everybody were afraid to purchase, but the moment vaccines came out and people stopped, like people went on the streets, the home values grew 30%. So please don't wait for this. It's so frustrating to come to the open house when you cannot see the end of the line of people entering, and you know how no chances you have for neither investment properties nor your primary residency, how many people you compete with. So it's much better to pay higher interest now and have a hassle of refinancing it later, but don't have this huge competition the way we had in 2021. I will pause just 1 second. So you have to be smart and see future before it become obvious. You have to look beyond headlines. Most of people look at the rear window and what's right in front of them. If you see in the future, you see clearly lower rates and higher home prices. So, and just to remind you that we are in a real estate mecca. Boston is one of the most stable markets in the country due to the broad scope of industries, hospitals. So it's withstanding economic events much better than other markets. Just to remind you that during COVID, we actually had more people coming into Boston than leaving. Like despite a lot of people moving to New Hampshire, Cape Cod, Maine, we had a huge movement from Seattle. We had a huge movement from New York. So we are a hub of startups, Harvard, MIT. So people are flocking here. So we never gonna face any downs in real estate in Boston. Let's see. So let's look a little bit about, because I hear from everyone, the real estate gonna crash, real estate gonna crash. So just to remind you, and this is from presentation from one of the market analysts, which I highly respect. So let's look of media. So media is selling fear. That's what it is, because that's what works in our world, unfortunately. So let's see, October 2015, housing today, a bubble larger than 2006. Appreciation in this year was 5.1%. Then August 2016, we are in a new housing bubble, headlines, right? Appreciation of this year, 5.4%. November 2017, home ownership doesn't build wealth. Study finds what built wealth. I mean, the stupidest ever, right? And appreciation is 6.1%. September 2018, year after, it's better to rent than to buy in today's housing market. So it's too bad for people who listen to that, because that year appreciation was 4.1%. July 2019, the housing market is about to shift in a bad ways for buyers. Appreciation 4%. December 2019, next year will be hard on the housing market, especially in these big cities. What we see, appreciation 16%. And July 2021, as we all know, housing boom is over as a new home sales fall to pandemic low. Appreciation was 18%. So as you can see, from 2015 to 2021, every year brought huge appreciation, and this is nationwide. And there is none of the media statements were true. So I welcoming you not to listen this time as well. Okay, now, so a lot of people tell me, oh, we're not ready to buy. We don't want to waste your time. So my huge request and favor to you, please waste my time. I would love my time to be wasted to look at your real estate needs in the future. Please reach out. There is no pressure to buy or sell anything. You don't need to commit anything. I'm happy to look, spend time with you and see, make a plan for the future. You know, maybe you will buy or sell something with me in a year. Maybe you'll send me your friends. Maybe you will be our cash investor or renter or Airbnb or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. For the little of it, we will have a good time and have a nice cup of coffee. I have my favorite stories. I was in a Peace Temple Festival a couple years ago, and I'm not a big substance taker. I like my head in place, so I was a little bit bored. And with nothing to do, and one girl told me, you know, I hate to like take your time. I really want to talk to you about real estate. We can do it after. I said, no, please talk to me about real estate. So we sat down, we had coffee, and we spoke about like all my favorite subject, and it truly was my best 2 hours of the whole festival. So please reach out. It's my deepest honor and pleasure to serve you and talk about your needs and spend time with you. And that girl in the picture is me, the one that is super happy because this is my hugest pleasure to talk about real estate. I deeply in love, I deeply passionate about it. I sleep, breathe, think about it, shower about it. Like I think about it all the time. So I have my partner Al here also, so he's gonna talk a little bit about his part. How he sees it. He's a commissioner. We've been partners together 5 years and built lots of projects. And he been builder his whole life. His old man was commissioner of Somerville, so he's living and breathing real estate from like, you know, his birth. So go ahead, Al, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Albert Legee. I'm a commissioner of a local town, also a police officer, and I come from a long line of policing and commissioners and inspectors. You know, my dad was the commissioner in Somerville for 22 years or plus, and his brothers were electrical inspectors and plumbing inspectors. My brother's a cop, retired, young. My sister is an FBI agent. And this is my, you know, my heritage, basically. So Ella and I crashed into each other, you know, on unfortunate circumstances about maybe 6 years ago. She had a bad contractor. I was spinning my wheels trying to figure out how to invest in real estate. You know, I come from this company, Legee Construction, LLC, now formed by Ella, actually. Used to be called Legee Construction, DBA, you know, for years with my old man. We did a lot of projects. So basically what happened, you know, we joined forces together. Ella showed me on, you know, how to invest in real estate, how to use my skills as a commissioner, how to use my skills as a general contractor, and how to form this company. So we joined forces and we've done quite a few projects in East Boston, and we've done them successfully. And believe me, they weren't easy projects. You know, I had to take a project over from her when she had a bad contractor. We had to put our brains together, figure out how to finish the project, get it sold nicely, which we did. And we moved on to multiple other projects. So, you know, worked out nicely. And it kind of jump-started me. And, you know, and I said to myself, geez, you know, there's another light at the end of the tunnel. You know, I can invest my money, I can have return on my money, and it's great. You know, we purchased a property in Revere 2 years ago. It was true COVID. Nobody was buying or selling anything. She stumbled upon it, said, geez, you know, this is a great property. And let me back up. I was living in East Boston. I'm a single dad. I have a special needs child, and it just wasn't the place for him to live. It was a beautiful condo, one of our conversions, done very nicely, but I needed to move with him. He just wasn't having it there. It was uncomfortable for him, and it was uncomfortable for me at the time. So she stumbled upon this beautiful property. We purchased it. We created an ADU in the basement. She moved forward to rent it for Airbnb and short-term rental. You know, I have lived here, for 2 years and haven't paid a mortgage payment, which is amazing. So I'm already making money, you know what I mean? And then the most unique thing is the property that we purchased, you know, for five something had grown so nicely. I had to remortgage the property like a year down the line, you know, a year forward or even less, because we had a construction loan and I needed to get out of it. So, you know, I was, you know, fortunate enough to get a good mortgage. Rates were low at the time. I refinanced the property. And it was a funny, you know, situation that 2 years have gone by, and that in that refinance process, appraiser came out and they appraised this property for like 1.50. I was amazed. I said to myself, I said, this woman is onto something. I said, I purchased this property in 2 years or a year and a half or a year, whatever, a couple months. It grew hugely, hugely. And then given the fact that I've been staying here the whole time since it's been rented downstairs with short-term rental that she takes care of. She comes in, she makes sure it's rented every month or two. She makes sure that the property is cleaned nicely, maintained nicely. She watches out for every little thing. She, you know, gets the feedback from the tenants that come. These are all nurses, working professionals coming from the Midwest. And she stays on top of that. She gets their feedback. And, you know, I have lived here mortgage-free, which is huge. I'm like amazed. It allows me to take better care of my child, do some things that I need to do, and it's a great investment. I mean, I could sell this property tomorrow, move on, buy another property anywhere I want, because I have a ton of equity in this property. So, you know, to just step back a little bit, you know, I'm a construction company. Ella's a real estate company. We merged together nicely, and our offerings to you folks are a couple of different things. One, you have a talented broker, a talented woman that knows how to invest in certain properties. She knows how to purchase these properties. She knows how to fix these properties. She knows how to Airbnb these properties. She knows how to short-term rental these properties. And she knows how to get these properties up and running. And that's huge. Times are changing constantly. I'm on the front line. I see the code changing, zoning changing. I'm in all these private meetings. You know, I'm seeing, you know, the governor comes in, they speak of shortage on housing, how they want to, you know, absorb the ADU, which I'll talk about in a minute, which is an accessory dwelling unit. And, you know, so I get that little bit of extra information, which I'm able to pass on to Ella, which she's able to pass on to you folks in the future as you come forward to, you know, invest in her, move forward with a venture with her. So, you know, given that, you know, all around experience and knowledge, it's huge. So when you folks step into a situation and Ella's taking care of you, she's coming in, she's finding you that property, she's looking to show you how to invest in that property. I mean, you might buy a single, you know, family home in Revere, you'll move forward, create an ADU. So say just hypothetically, and I'm just throwing this number out here, crazy, number. So you purchased a single family home for, we'll say, just 600,000. Could be more or less. I don't know. That's more her expertise. But remember one thing: if you move forward and you have that ADU approved, you've already created a two-family dwelling. You're creating what they call a pre-existing, non-conforming two-family, and that's huge because you've already jumped up 200,000 plus in equity, which is huge. So you already won just from the start. Just creating that ADU or converting that property into a two-family, if it's eligible to create to a two-family, you've already won. So now comes the second phase. She'll take you forward. She'll get you approved. And then there'll be some construction work that has to be done to that lower unit or unit above. You create that ADU, accessory dwelling unit, and then you'll move forward to rent that unit for an Airbnb or short-term rental. She'll walk you through all these steps. She'll find the property. She'll make sure it can be an ADU. I and her will, get you to the process, get it approved. She will then turn around, get it rented as an ADU, as a short-term rental. She will get it, rented as a short-term rental or an Airbnb, and then she'll bring her forces forward to help you maintain it, rent it, make sure it stays in compliance. And this is huge because when you purchase this type of property and you move forward, with this, you've already gained equity. And this is what a lot of people don't realize. And this is a very, it's not an easy task to pull something like this off. You need people that have the experience, have done this before, and the most important thing that nobody realized, have a proven track record, which we do, and we can prove. We have ADUs under our belt, we have conversions under our belt, we have successful developments that we've done in East Boston, and we're still moving forward and doing developments in other towns now. We're branched out to Arlington. I would like to see Watertown. So, all in all, I think just, not to keep you folks for a long time, I think you have the picture. I think you have a one-stop fits all. You have Ella, which is able to find the property, move you through the process, make sure your money is invested properly, which is the most important thing. And another thing, which is very important, knows how to change when there's change. When the cities and towns say, hey, listen, we're tightening up on Airbnb, well, she's going to put a short-term rental in there. When they say they're going to tighten up on short-term rental, she's going to find another way to rent it to professionals. She knows how to maneuver, and that's huge. And that should be very confident for you folks moving on when you decide to venture forward with our company, venture forward with Ella herself, and venture forward with myself. So that's pretty much, what I have to say. If anybody would like to contact me, they can contact me through Ella. I'm always available to help, to guide, to give all my knowledge moving forward, which is huge. And, and I'll tell you, 6 years now, working with her hand in hand, it's been huge. We've climbed mountains. When I met her 6 years ago, she, did have problems with a very bad contractor, which I got involved. We joined forces. We were able to get him away, and we were able to move forward and get her projects up and running. And today, like I said, and I won't repeat myself, but we do have a proven track record. You're welcome to come see our projects. You're welcome to meet the people that purchased our projects, and you're going to find out that they're very happy. We just finished a 6-unit building in Winthrop. It was a conversion from a 3 to a 6. It was done beautifully. She had a lot to do with the designs. She marketed it. She sold it. And, I have 6 successful units sold. The town loves it. People are going into the center business district, which it's attached to. They're shopping. They're spending their money. They have 6 parking spots. Their cars are off the street. So that was like a huge win. And so that's pretty much what I have to say. Thank you guys for joining. I look forward to meeting you all in the future. I look forward to help guiding you, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Al. Also, on the original presentation, we had Mila Levinson, who spoke up nicely. Unfortunately, she's not available today, but I just want to say in a couple of words what her message was. So she actually doesn't use Airbnb. She uses long-term renters. She has, I think, 7 units she's running. And like for me, it's a full-time job, but she is not. She's a very hardworking professional. She's a pharmacist, right? So, but they're doing it on a side. We're not managing it for them. They're managing it themselves, and they're actually looking for next property, so they can do it. They can do easily, 7 units as it is, and they're willing to take more. So it's not that big of a deal, even if you would be doing it yourself. So what I want to say is, it's really not that difficult. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and I hope to hear from you soon.